Amelia Earhart, a legend in flight. Introduction: The airplane bounced among the clouds. Giant black storm clouds lay ahead. The year was 1932. The airplane carried Amelia Earhart. She had been the first woman to ride in an airplane over the Atlantic Ocean. Now, if she made it, she would be the first woman to fly an airplane over the Atlantic, and she would be the first person to have crossed the Atlantic in an airplane twice. But first, she had to succeed, and the trip was dangerous. Airplanes in the 1930s were small, and they didn't have the instruments that that today's pilots do. A pilot had to go by her sense of sight, keeping tight controlled airplane. The black clouds ahead were too large to fly around, so Amelia pointed the little plane right into them. Ice froze the plane's control, sending it into tailspin, and Amelia struggled to get control. Finally, the ice melted, and Amelia was able to pull the plane out of its spin. And hours later, Amelia set the plane down in Northern Ireland. She had crossed the Atlantic in an airplane of herself. She had already been famous. Now she would be legend. But Amelia Earhart would be the most remembered for something else. While trying to fly around the world, she disappeared. Winged machine: The world's first airplane flight happened in 1903. Two brothers, Wilbur and Orville Wright, successfully flew their winged machine in North Carolina. Many people thought the idea of flying was exciting, but it's also dangerous. Planes were fragile and slow, and they did not fly well in bad weather. Many pilots died in crashes. In 1937, airplanes had improved a lot. Engineers designed better airplanes, but accidents still happened. Kansas Young and Young was who knew Amelia as a child, could hardly have been surprised by her later accomplishment. She was born in Kansas in 1897. She spent most of her life with with her family and friends. They climbed around the banks of the Missouri River. Amelia made up games for children to play. She and her sister were such active children, while their mother made bloomers for them to wear, unlike dresses. Bloomer allowed the girls to be as active as the boys. When was 21, her family moved to California. One day she attended an air show. Airplanes dazzled her, flying in loops and doing stunts. She knew then that she wanted to fly with her parents' help. Amelia took piloting lessons and saved enough money to buy an airplane. Before long, she was flying in air shows herself. Time to fly. Amelia later moved to Boston and found a job at Denison House. It was a place where people who were poor, especially children, could receive help. She loved her work there, but then the chance of lifetime presented itself. George Putnam, a publicist, searched for a woman to be the first to ride in an airplane over the Atlantic. It was dangerous, It was a dangerous idea. Three women had died trying to cross the Atlantic the year before. Only men had ever crossed the Atlantic in an airplane. Anyone who would try it had to withstand danger and fatigue. And fa- fatigue. fatigue. George thought Amelia Earhart was perfect. She was eager to go. Amelia was just passenger on that 1938 flight. Her life would never be the same. First woman to cross the Atlantic made headlines around the world. After she flight, she was famous and busy writing books and giving speeches about flying. She also designed clothing and luggage for active women like herself and even helped launch two airplanes. Later she married George Putnam. She also continued to fly. Last flight, Amelia and Fred first stopped the Electra in Florida. The new plane crossed the entire North American continent. Next, they flew to South America, Africa, India, Asia, and Australia. It appeared, and Amelia Earhart was one again pulled off a historic flight without a hitch. On June 29, in 1937, they stopped at New Guinea, just north of Australia. There, they filled the airplane and checked their maps. Then they took off again. There was no hint that the trouble to come. As they flew close to Howland Island, Holland Island, their radio message became odd. The U.S. Coast Guard cutter Itasca waited offshore to receive the signal and help them find the island. The radio signal was irregular and strange. Amelia spoke of a storm, yet the weather over the island was clear. More than 20 hours into the flight, Amelia's voice said, "We are running north and south." She was never heard from again. What happened to Amelia? This question is still a mystery today. The Itasca and the U.S. Navy began searching for Amelia plane. The search continued for weeks. No sign of the plane. Amelia and Fred was found. After a year of searching, Amelia's husband believed that she died at sea. But is that the full story? Some people think Amelia and Fred survived an emergency landing and were picked up by a Japanese ship. Others think that Amelia landed the plane but at a different island. There, she and Fred were able to live on native food but died of either sickness or old age. Many people believe the easier answer was that the plane landed in the river. Perhaps Amelia and Fred drowned before they inflated their life raft. Whatever happened, there were no doubts that Amelia Earhart was one of the greatest Americans of the 20th century. She showed everyone that women didn't have to live with limits. She showed that anyone could fly. She was a legend.